Govin, good morning to you. You and I were at the EFF final rally yesterday. Malema apologizing to Karima Brown, but at the same time staying very firm about the allegations against her.
Indeed, Oli, and those are the statements that Karima Brown says are actually defamatory and false, and she wants the court to rule on them, particularly the allegations that she is some sort of ANC agent. And she has approached the High Court today, believing that she has the right to do so because she's seeking an order to rule that the EFF has contravened the electoral code, but more specifically Clause 8 of the Electoral Code, which says that any registered political party or candidate must ensure that the media is not subjected to harassment or threats of physical and verbal abuse. And that's exactly what Karima Brown says the EFF did by posting her phone number and that WhatsApp message on Twitter and then refusing to take it down for over a month. Of course, yesterday we heard Julius Malema talking about the issue again, and it was the second time after speaking about it at a press conference. But only in the court papers of Karima Brown, she says that those apologies are far too little, far too late, because she had been subjected to over a month of continued abuse by EFF supporters through Twitter as well as through WhatsApp. And she's put some of those statements that were sent to her in her court papers, and that is essentially what Judge Dippenaar will today be looking at and making a ruling on. Of course, the EFF is arguing that she should have gone to the Electoral Court, but Karima Brown says that she's not seeking the disqualification of the EFF from the elections, but merely an order that they had contravened the Electoral Code. So it will be interesting to see how that argument plays out. But then let's have a look once again at exactly what Julius Malema had to say at that final Chela Tupa rally in Soweto yesterday.
Neither do we have a problem with Karima Brown. We don't have a problem with Karima Brown. We engage her robustly, without fear, without favor. And any fool that threatened Karima Brown with rape, with violence, that person is not EFF. It's a thug that must be isolated from EFF people. Having said that, it doesn't mean Karima Brown is not an ANC mole, an ANC agent. She remains exactly that. But she doesn't deserve to be threatened with violence.
So, Govin, ultimately, what does Karima Brown want from the EFF? Is it an apology which was issued yesterday, or is there something more to that?
Well, she wants the court to rule that the EFF has contravened the Electoral Code. And in her court papers, she says that at worst they would be found to have done so and directly been responsible for her being subjected to threats of harassment and violence, but at best they would have been found to have violated Clause 2 and 3 of the Electoral Code, which compels any registered political party or candidate to ensure that their supporters or their members promote the rights of women and the rights of the media. And that's essentially what the argument will center on. It's worth pointing out that the EFF doesn't really deal with its alleged violations of the Electoral Code in its answering affidavits. They focus more on the technicalities of this matter being heard before the election. But Karima Brown says that if it were not to be heard before the election, it would have long-standing implications for the elections and also the rights of journalists, because of course the EFF would go to the polls without being made to account in a court of law for their statements, and whether or not they were in line with the law is up for Judge Dippenaar to decide. Of course, we know that even after SANEF and senior journalists from the Financial Mail called on Julius Malema to apologize to Karima Brown, and he refused to do so, and he only removed her number from Twitter after being told to do so by Twitter itself and not at the request of the journalist or several media bodies. So his behavior during that time and whether or not he incited those threats against Karima Brown will be up to the court to decide.
All right, Govin Whittles will touch base with you a little later.